Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I have another interesting replay from one of my games, and it's all about crushing the enemy front at the earliest. The moment you do that, you practically win your games. I'm going over here, Cortex front one position. You see, with all the markings on the map, we've made some plans. So I asked Blinkshot, the second highest OS in my team, to just come front with me so that we can win easy. Gone for a 3 mechs into a T1 lab start over here, all because the pond position is feeding us tidals, so both me and Blink will have some additional energy coming in from these tidals. I set up a bot lab and I immediately pull out 2 grave robbers. Oh, I believe I have gone for a construction bot instead. May not be the best decision, quite frankly. But you get the construction bot out so that it can start supporting the lab. Yeah, I move my commander up a little bit so that I can eat these trees nearby at the front. And now with the excess energy, I'm boosting my res bots out. The res bots serve a fairly standard purpose. They're going to eat the trees and of course the front metal that's there on the isthmus. Now as I'm doing that, the green commander has gone for a 2 mech start and has already put his pawns out on the front lines. So yes, I am a little bit slow with this start, a little bit greedy, but I did boost a con turret out as well. So now I don't have to really feel restricted in terms of build power around my base. I already have my commander moving up. Also, Bose, the green commander, not really, okay, he's lagging behind. It's not an issue. My one res bot eating up the beach metal. And now my stream of grunts. So if you just go through my quick build order, I had queued up 10 grunts into then aggravators. And beyond those initial set of grunts, a little bit of missed micro over here. But beyond those initial set of grunts, you don't really need any assault units. Rocket bots tend to serve the purpose, at least for the lower OS bracket that I'm playing in. Now you would notice I did put up a radar tower over here. And the reason for that is to give me this additional vision of where enemy units might be coming from. It just helps you preempt where enemy units are going to be, and then you can move your grunts around accordingly. You don't want to be surprised by a stream of, I don't know, maybe blitzes coming out on the beach side. So I do see already there are a few units over here. We don't know what lab it is. Actually, we do. It's a vehicle lab. So there are some vehicles. There is probably a commander. And because I see this, I've gone for the early LLTs. And likewise, the green commander over here sees us and he's put his LLTs up. However, with whatever remaining grunts I have, I don't push them in to die. I instead wait for a few more seconds and I have my rocket bots coming out. And because the LLTs are up, even Blinkshot 159, not too sure about how he wants to use his units. Somehow has ticks as well, ticks and pawns. That's interesting. I'm not sure where he got those units from. Maybe someone from the team handed them over to us. But this is what I was talking about. So the first rocket bot hits the front lines, and whatever enemy defensive units you can see, you can just start shooting at them. And your rocket bots only multiply from here. So I'm not too threatened by an offensive over here from the blue player. I also realize he's not the best of players in his team. And this is an advantage that you have going into Isthmus in lower level lobbies. People tend to send their weaker players on the front lines. Not the case, but then again, Bose over here, 22 OS, second highest in his team. So again, I am fairly confident that whatever defenses he's going to put up, my rocket bots are just ready to push in, right? The only way you get to counter this rocket bot push is perhaps if you fall back a little bit, not lose your forces. That was a bad decision by Blink 159 because he lost a whole bunch of his units. So we were going to get the commander anyways because we're pushing in with a nice rocket bot army. And as you're seeing, I'm fight commanding my rocket bots. So the very first unit that comes into their firing range, the rocket bots will stand and fire at it. So if it's an LLT, they don't walk into the LLT firing radius. Yeah, and you just keep bringing down the defenses. Now, if the green commander had lived over here and he'd pulled his units back, somewhere over here would be a good place to just cluster all your forces and push into rocket bots. Because we can't fall back very easily to our nice LLT defense. Now, meanwhile, while my front is relatively less micro intensive because I'm fight commanding my rocket bots. So what I'm doing on the back lines is I'm building my eco up, scaling up a little bit. So I've got a fair scaling on wind turbines. I've put in additional con turrets in. I should be pulling out additional cons as well. You almost always want a con up front as well. And while all of this is happening, I do believe I was using res bots. Maybe not. Okay, maybe I lost a res bot or two somewhere. But what you can see my commander doing is eating up all the wrecks of all the units we've killed up. So there's 574 metal over here. We want either a res bot or a commander just walking up. So blink over here, healing my units, and yeah, he goes right back to just eating up all the wreck metal. Because we're being fairly offensive, the enemy does not have any isthmus metal extractors. We've pushed him out of that control zone. We've killed a commander. Now, once you've killed a commander, life becomes a little bit easier. If the pond doesn't come in to support the isthmus, you should target the lab where the commander is dead. And you will see us doing that shortly. Again, not really microing my commander. I'm probably building up some storages. I have an early T2. So again, because the orange player, Elfin Light, who's playing tech, makes again a very heads up play that we've pushed in front very early on. There has been a loss of the commander. Also, from what little vision we have on the map, the blue player has gone C. So in a longer game, we definitely will lose this C. Purely because the GOC has more access to resources than the short C, and our GOC is a one Chev dark red player who is doing a great job. So he has his defensive cove all set up, but he's not pushing into the enemy. So high potential of us losing both the Cs, and in Supreme Isthmus, losing both the Cs is pretty much a lost game. Again, a little bit of missed micromanagement over here. So I will lose a few rocket bots, but moving in again to just hit that lab, rocket bot volley. You want to spread your rocket bots out in a line so that all of them can fire at the units at front. They don't tend to fire over each other. Yeah, and while I'm microing my rocket bots, I forget to micro my commander. So yeah, I'm not a really good player, but what I did have in mind is a strategy as to how we can end a game quickly. And you see that all playing out. So we've killed the bot lab. Blink Shot has a fair bit of units up front. I have pulled a few units up, and because my commander died, I will need to quickly reset and figure out what I want to do from here. And the decision I've gone for, because I already have 3 base mexes up to T2, and the T2 constructor is just walking up to get the other T2 mexes, and the Isthmus T2 mexes are really beneficial. Because the Isthmus mexes give you 4.3 metal per second as opposed to a 2.3 as your which is your base mexes. So getting the Isthmus mexes up to T2 gives you a solid boost in metal income, and I'm preparing for that. So I've gone into even more con turrets. This is again me getting ready to transition into T2, and the reason for that is it's 8 minutes. I haven't heard from our Geo player, so somewhere in that offensive I did take a look back to figure out what my Geo player is up to, because I know for a fact the enemy Geo player, if they're playing well, will have T2 units coming up anytime now. And what I do see is we do not have a solid Geo economy going on. The commander hasn't self-lead either, so maybe it makes sense for me to go T2. Now, one thing I had requested from our pawn player is to spam ticks the moment we've covered a certain amount of ground on the front lines, just so that he can give us that vision that our T2 Sheldons will require. So my T2 lab is up. I am moving my rocket bots around, and I should have Sheldons coming up soon. Alright, scaling up my eco a little bit. Maybe I don't feel comfortable with the energy economy I have right now. Yeah, see, I moved my res board up. I ate the commander over here. I'm eating up all the rest of the wreckage that was left behind from all the units we've killed. And eating up wreckage metal is, at this point, one of the basics. If you're not doing it, even at low levels where I'm at, you're definitely griefing your own team. Again, not microing my rocket bot, my res bot, so that dies again. But what I'm doing is I'm just using my rocket bot army to keep the enemy focused on the front lines. I don't want them to see that there's just a line of rocket bots that are not moving around, because the moment the enemy sees that, they know they can probably eco a little bit harder because I'm not paying attention to the front lines. And that's where you sort of stall in your front offensive. But all we're waiting for is just an army of Sheldon. So I've queued up about 15 Sheldon. Always have a radar bot and a jammer bot when you have RT units going front. So the radar jammer will prevent enemy from having vision on where your RT units are at. And the radar bot will be super useful for attacking commanders, even if the commander cloaks. As long as it's not under jammer, it's going to be visible on radar. And despite that radar sway of the blip, some Sheldon units will attack the commander and we should get a kill. Now, we have the enemy air player trying to help the front lines, but anyone who doesn't know, T1 gunships are horrible, and that's the main reason you do not play Armada Air. Shuriken are really oppressive, so just go Cortex Air if you're going air. So you can see the commander over here is trying to cloak and move around. And if you have your Sheldons with the radar bot and the jammer bot, they will always have vision. So that this one jammer bot is letting us know where the commander is at. And because of lack of energy, he's cloaking and decloaking. But you know where the commander is at and you can play accordingly, so you don't get your T2 units degunned. The enemy is already calling a resign vote, and the reason for that is we've pushed that far forward. Both the front lines have lost. You have banishers, so T2 army is coming out. Our Geo is running really late, but because we transitioned, and again, lots of metal for reclaim over here, so we will be eating that up. We do have our T2 mexes being built, so I did send a few twitchers. That there you see, we've got a twitcher moving front, making the mexes, and should be reclaiming as well soon. And we've pushed into the enemy Geo. Now the enemy Geo, if you're able to push beyond the front lines and get the enemy Geo, you've pretty much won the land game at that point. Going for a pond, going for the pawn position is what people tend to do. It's because it's easier, and the Geo will have T2 units coming out, but killing Geo is just a massive detriment to the enemy team, and that's where I'm using my Sheldon with under the jammer vision. So we're slowly just inching forward, destroying their units, destroying their defenses. You've got a Tiger tank coming up, and this is where Sheldon are great. We can just retreat. So it's going to take a lot for a Tiger to kill us. Oh, the Banisher missile though. This one Tiger could be a problem, but our tech player, recognizing that the front is winning really hard, donates about 20 fiends. And the moment enemy sees that, we've got more T2 units and a fiend army is such a good unit to destroy enemy bases, even enemy T2 armor. So enemy tanks fall pretty easily to T2 fiends. So the moment these fiends move in, oh my god, 3, 4, I'm losing my Sheldon army, 5 Banisher missiles. So air also goes all in, and this is where team communication sort of comes into picture, right? We've been coordinating, we had a plan, we discussed it before going into this game, and the team recognizes, yes, that the plan is working out, so just send a few more units to deal that incremental damage. You can see these fiends are absolutely destroying the Geo base as well. So I hold back, I've only got 4 Sheldon remaining. But Blinkshot's been doing a wonderful job, so he's got a T2 front factory and the enemy just resigns at this point. The game could have gone for a lot longer if we did not have our team spamming up. We did not have T2 fiends coming in from the tech position. So very heads up play from both those positions, and they lead to a simple victory. So hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next video.